Welcome, everybody. We are Team Positive Outliers. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Rohan.
Unfortunately, Erik is not able to be with us today, but we will be presenting our MUDAC presentation. So to start off, I just want to quickly mention that we use Python to collect and visualize our data. So we use Python libraries, pandas, matplotlib, seaborn, and scipy.stats to compute statistics and graph our data.
So, to find what strategies work for big brothers, big sisters, we first have to define what a successful match is. We used the match length statistic to do this and found that a match length of over 12 months has a positive impact on youth. We found this using this graph here, analyzing unsuccessful closure reasons and their respective match lengths. At around the 12-month mark, we see that the percentage of total unsuccessful closures declines from 15% to 7.5%, almost half of what it was, supporting our argument that 12 months is enough time to build a positive relationship between the youth and the mentor. Research from the National Library of Medicine also backs our findings that 12 months is a good relationship match length between the youth and the mentor.
So determine which specific variables affect matches. We group them into three big categories, that being demographic variables such as age, gender, or education level, shared interests like sports or any other hobbies, as well as program. So in the data, there was program and program type as two columns, and we chose to use program because it had generally more descriptive data and more subcategories of different program types, basically. So that's why we chose to use program instead of the program type column. So with all of these variables, not all of them are have an effect on match length. So we decided to determine statistical significance for each variables. So we noticed that the distributions for the variables are generally skewed right. So we decided to use the Mann-Whitney U-test to compare median match length since all our distributions met the requirements for the test. And to compute the p-values, we created Python programs. And once we computed the p-values, we found that for demographic variables, so this is the first category, age and education level were very significant, and distance was also significant. But upon further analysis of the data, there was no clear trend between distance and match length, and the sample size for distance was low, and we decided that we would not include it among our significant variables. So moving on to age, we see that there is a slight trend between increased age and increased match lengths. But when we computed our p-values for multi-subcategorical variables like this, we just did each pairing and then took the lowest p-value. So that just tells us that, yes, there is a difference between one of the two subgroups. And for age, we can see that among the age group 18 to 24, compared to any other age group, there is a big difference. And this is also confirmed by the percentages below. And next, moving on to education, there is a strong trend between increased education level and increased match lengths. And this is also reflected by the percentages.
So now we'll move on to our second factor in determining a successful match, which is shared interests. So out of the four categories of shared interests that we analyzed, we found that shared sports interests, such as soccer and tennis, shared performance arts interests, such as dancing or theater, and shared fine art interests, such as photography or drawing, all have a significant impact on match length. However, one category, shared media interests, such as watching TV shows or playing video games, doesn't have a high significance on the match length. So now that we know that these three shared interest groups have a significance on the match length, we have to determine how much of an impact they have on match length. So what we found was that relationships with shared interests have a median match length of 2 to 4 months longer than relationships without a shared interest. This is also reflected in the percentage of match over 12 months statistic that we found, which shows that the percentage of successful matches is much higher for similar interests compared to dissimilar interests. Our final statistic to see what makes a successful match is the program type, the program that the match was found in. Reminder that this is the program that the match was found in and not the program type. So what we found was that the p-value between these different programs is extremely low, indicating that programs is a really significant factor. This p-value was found between the program virtual match and the program school-based program, which has the biggest difference in median match length. So what we found after analyzing each of the program types was that virtual matches had the highest percentage for successful matches, and they had the highest median as well, indicating that they were the best type of match length according to this analysis. General community programs also performed very well, but school-based programs performed the worst significantly out of all of them. However, after analyzing the match length over time, we were skeptical of pushing virtual matches as the main reason for successful matches. As we can see, the median match lengths over the years 2019, 2020, and 2021 increased drastically compared to the previous years. And these years were the COVID years. So we were unsure if this was because of COVID or because of the increase in virtual matches. As we can see in year 2021, the median match length is much higher than all the other years. But this could be due to confounding variables such as the big having more time to spend with the little, or it could be because of virtual matches itself. Because we are unsure of this without further analysis, we are hesitant in pushing virtual matches as the main reason for successful matches.
All right, so what can Big Brothers Big Sisters Twin Cities do with our data and findings? Well, to answer the question of improving average match lengths and thus improving the chance of successful matches, Big Brothers Big Sisters can do targeted advertising for specific demographic groups of bigs. Once they have recruited a big and a small, they can pair them optimally based on shared interests, and they can give priority to more successful programs. So, for example, shifting focus from school-based programs, which are not generally successful, to general community programs or experimenting with more virtual matches. So, Big Brothers Big Sisters success set strategy, which is backed by our data, can be focusing on recruiting older people. And the biggest thing to avoid is recruiting the age group 18 to 24, as again, using our data analysis, when that group is compared with all the other groups, it's a very significant factor, which means that anyone between 18 to 24 generally could be avoided to be recruited because of the low success rate and match lengths. Big Brothers Big Sisters definitely should recruit more educated people. They should experiment with virtual matches or just continue general-based community programs and get rid of the school-based programs. Big Brothers Big Sisters can pair bigs and smalls based on our performance and sports interests. And Big Brothers Big Sisters should ignore these variables, for they don't have little effect on the match length, and those are shared media interests, the big's marital status, ensuring that the bigs and the small genders match, or the race and ethnicity, as well as the distance and the military status of the big. So thank you for listening to our presentation.